Have you with us. And joining me now at the desk is Dr. John Covington, and he is the Chancellor of the Michigan Education Achievement Authority. Dr. Covington, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So many people may not exactly understand what this authority is and what it's going to do. Can you explain?
Yeah, sure. The authority is actually a part of Governor Snyder's education platform, and our work will surround acquiring approximately 100 of the lowest persistent achieving schools across the state of Michigan. This coming fall, we will acquire the 15 of the 38 schools that are located on that list in Detroit.
So it will start just in Detroit first?
It will start in Detroit just this year. And our primary goal is to put structures in place to see to it that there is statistically significant increases in measurable student achievement outcomes for students enrolled in those schools.
It sounds easier. Oh, and you're the noise behind us. I don't know if anyone's ever seen an ice sculpture being put up, but is the Grand Hotel, live parlor action, live television. Dr. Covington, we talk about how measuring success, and it would seem it's so hard because of the variables that children are facing, whether it's coming from home, in the classroom, how they learn in different ways. How do you go about starting to tackle those measurements?
Well, first of all, you're exactly right. Measuring the progress that students are making in our schools is difficult. And first of all, I'd like to say to your listening audience that the problems that we have in Michigan, the problems that we have in Detroit relative to public education isn't germane to Michigan and Detroit alone. We have a national problem with public education in urban centers and rural districts across the country. But getting back to your question, how do we measure the success of the Education Achievement Authority? First of all, we're going to meet children where they are, and we're going to concentrate on measuring students' growth rather than measure the percentage of children who are actually passing the state test. When you look at the students that we are acquiring in the Education Achievement Authority, they're already at the very, very bottom of the heap. And to get these children back to where they need to be, which is at grade level, we're going to have to make sure that we put structures in place so that they can acquire those skill sets that they need to be successful at the next level. And we intend to do that through what we call a student-centered approach of learning.
Okay, now, and what is that?
Okay, a student-centered approach of teaching is meeting children where they are and not necessarily putting them or forcing public education to be delivered in the traditional way that you and I probably had our public schooling to occur.
Okay.
First grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. Rather than put children in traditional grade levels, we will give them a benchmark assessment, find out where they are, and then issue for each and every child in the Education Achievement Authority an individualized education plan that's designed to help them overcome those learning deficiencies or those deficiencies in their learning that they've had for the past several years.
Okay, so how many students are we talking about? If we're looking at 15 schools that this program is going to start to be implemented in the fall, how many kids, and then when you get to the teachers, you've got a lot of work. So go ahead. I'm going to sit back and lay it out for me step by step.
In the 15 schools that we're scheduled to acquire, the projected enrollment is approximately 11,500, 12,000 children. And in terms of how we get there with the current teaching pool, we have engaged or partnered with Harvard University, who is not only screening our principal applications, or they've already done that. We've actually already hired the principals, but they will be screening the teacher applications as well. It's a very, very rigorous process. It's not just a matter of an interested applicant submitting an application and a completed resume. There's a very, very rigorous process that they have to go through so that we can screen those applicants to ensure that we are putting the best and brightest that we can find in front of children come the fall.
Would critics say, how do we know if this is going to work? Are you doing experimental programs that you're not quite sure what the outcome will be on our kids?
Well, yeah, and that's a very, very good question. We have done, members of my team and I have previous experience in implementing student-centered approaches to teaching and learning. We did it in Kansas City, where in 3 of the schools, the data says that we received really, really significant success in those programs. And when you talk about meeting children where they are, I mean, really, it just makes sense. If a child is in the 3rd grade and already 2 or 3 years behind or if the child's in the 6th grade rather, and already 2 or 3 years behind grade level.
Have you lost them?
Why wouldn't you meet that child where that child is and make sure that those skill sets that that child has missed in order to be successful at the 6th grade, that we provide an avenue and an opportunity for that child to get what that child needs. So in other words, one size in the EAA schools doesn't fit all.
You've been here since last November.
Since last November.
The scope of your work has got to be massive. What is the process that you're going to be going through this summer to make sure that you're ready for the fall?
Right. Well, first of all, we will be officially acquiring the schools on July the 15th. Right now, we're in the process of screening teachers so that we can have a full staff in place come the fall. We are also planning a myriad of comprehensive professional development activities for administrators, for teachers, and for staff, so that they will understand how to administer or to deliver educational programs, and services from a student-centered approach come the fall.
How hopeful are you? Because people can look and say, gosh, there's so much broken. A, I don't know where to start, and B, I'm just not even hopeful that we're going to get somewhere.
Right. I am very, very hopeful that this initiative is going to be successful. It has to be successful. And we probably won't have another opportunity to get it done. And when we have committed people from the governor's office, from the chairman of our board, Roy Roberts, who's also serving as the emergency manager for the Detroit Public Schools, a very, very committed and talented board of directors, parents, and a myriad of supporters not only across Detroit and across the state of Michigan, coming together for the benefit of children without allowing adult issues to come into play.
And do you think that that's what has been such a problem in education?
I think that's part of the problem, absolutely. But then have that commitment to really do what's right for children, because it's the right thing to do, to ensure that kids are getting the best that we can possibly give them, only serves to help Michigan as a state, particularly when you look at the economy. There's no way that we can look at economic development for this state without first improving the quality of public education.
And also looking at developing the neighborhoods also in the city of Detroit, if families don't want to move into the city because they don't want to send their children to the school system.
Absolutely.
Those schools that will be under your control, then it will be for the next 5 years or so?
It will be for the next 5 years.
Okay.
And at some point, as we begin to measure the success of those districts, the success of the schools within the system, at the end of a particular period, I think it's either 3 or 5 years, if they have made the growth that's necessary, then they will have a choice as to whether they want to return to their previous school district or whether they'd like to stay with EAA.
Stay on. Dr. John Covington, the Chancellor of the Michigan Education Achievement Authority, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chrissy.
Good luck.
Thank you so
and
much
we can't wait to continue to follow the progress starting this
Please
fall.
do.
We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.